We are in an absolutely amazing time when it comes to gaming. If you think about it, look at Fortnite, look at esports. They are blowing up. They're to the point where companies are offering millions of dollars for tournament, cash payout, cumulative prize pools. They're offering scholarships. And then that has trickled down into the mobile phone industry. And what started off as a simple play solitaire or something of the sort on your phone has turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I think we are about to embark on something that is going to change the way mobile games are played. And I think the change has already begun, and I think it started with Pokemon Go. Now, when Niantic released Pokemon Go, I thought it was a flash in the pan. I wasn't real familiar with Pokemon, augmented reality. I'm like, sounds interesting, but like, no. People play games indoors, and that's kind of always been the way that it was. And when Nintendo released the Wii, all of a sudden games became interactive, with the exception of games like Fortnite, which I mentioned earlier, and that is its own creature and its own animal, but that is still console gaming. What I am specifically talking about here is the future of mobile gaming, and I am predicting right here and right now, Harry Potter Wizards Unite is going to be the game that changes everything you know about mobile games. Pokemon Go already started down that line. If you look at what Niantic is doing, they recently at a conference, and it's not even super recently at this point, it's probably at least 6 months ago, they released an AR game prototype called Codename Neon. And what this is basically laser tag with your phone. I'll put links in the description below to everything that I talk about here so you guys can research this for yourself if you're not already familiar with what I'm talking about. But basically in this game, you take your phone and you hold it up, and it works across both Android and iOS platforms, and there's a system where you put your opponent in scope and then you shoot them with a laser, and it's an arena. You can do this in a warehouse. Now, there's no indication that that game will ever actually come out and be a thing. But think about this. When you compare that ability and capability with another game prototype that they announced called Tonehenge, you can see where Wizards Unite is going to be beyond anything that you've ever thought of being possible. Now, what Tonehenge is it's a multiplayer augmented reality puzzle solving game where people are going to have to work together to solve puzzles in order to reap the rewards. Now, here's an interesting twist on that. The other players playing with you become avatars. So let's think about this. One of the big things about Harry Potter that people really enjoy is dressing up. Well, if you have the opportunity for your opponents while they're dressed in regular clothes, if you are able to shine your phone or point your phone in their direction, and they are able to wear their Ravensclaw garb or their Slytherin house garb, that's going to change the way you think of games. And going back to the Codename Neon with the laser tag, think of Quidditch. You could actually have, and I can foresee this park right here is a wide open green space. I can see, much the way that community day events are in Pokemon Go right now, I can see Quidditch tournaments. To me, it blows my mind, but I totally think that it is something that is completely possible. Now, one thing that Niantic is going to have to do is they're going to have to solve the problem of fair play for everybody. And what I mean by that is, being here in Southern California, there's plenty of opportunity for me to play Ingress or Pokemon Go because it is based off of points of interest, where people in the Midwest or in rural parts of the country don't necessarily have all the advantages or luxuries that we do in major cities. So that is one thing that could hold this game back. If you look at games like Jurassic World Alive, they have solved that issue by going with Google Maps and Google's augmented reality code, and I think it's called like API or something like that. That is how Ludia has solved the problem of rural versus urban area and gameplay, and they've done an excellent job. I've heard, for the most part, there are some outlying people that say I don't have a park near me, but for the most part, both urban and rural players of Jurassic World Alive have both commented that it's a very fair game, and it's one thing that a lot of people were turned off about for Pokemon Go. It's just not enough stops or resources to make the game playable. So when is Wizards Unite coming out? Well, that's the million-dollar question. But in a recent interview, and I have to look at my notes again here, but Anne Butemuller, which is the head of product marketing for Europe and India, I believe, said, translated, because this was in a Polish magazine, so it's Google translated, we plan to release the game at the end of the year. And this kind of mimics what John Hanke had said when he said that it would come out in the second half of 2018, and then when kind of pressed a little bit further, a little bit later, a couple weeks later, he said closer to the end of the year. Now, if I'm using Jurassic World Alive as my model, and for this, I'm actually using it as my model. Jurassic World Alive was beta in Canada because Ludia is a Canadian company. It was in beta for approximately 5 weeks before the global launch, and the global launch was approximately, I think, within 2 days of being released 1 month before Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom's global release. It was released in Europe before it was released in the US, but the US release, the game was launched right about a month before that. If we use that as our model, and there's nothing that indicates that is the model, it just kind of fits my narrative. The US release of Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is released on November 16th. So if we back up about a month from there, that is gonna be October 16th, and then back up another 5 weeks from there for a beta. We could be looking at around 2 months from now, a beta version of this game being released. Now, the reason why I'm not completely sold on that is because we don't even have any kind of gameplay or a trailer. And I would imagine that some kind of screenshots or gameplay or a trailer would come out significantly before a beta. The other popular theory on when the game is going to be released is first quarter 2019, and this would be a late 2018 beta release, which technically would still be accurate to what we have heard people in Niantic saying that the game will release in late 2018. If you figure the end of November, maybe the middle of November, and have approximately a 6 weeks to 3 months beta version before a March release. But like I said, this is all speculation. These are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think that Harry Potter Wizards Unite is going to absolutely revolutionize the way that people think and play augmented reality games, and for that matter, the way that they use their phones? Or do you think this is just going to be another skin and a rebranding of games like Pokemon Go? Like I said, links to the stories, to the Niantic footage from their 2 prototype games will be linked down in the description below. But I really want to know what your thoughts are. If you are a fan of augmented reality games, and if you're a fan of mobile games, even if you're not a Harry Potter fan, are you excited for this game? Do you think it has as much potential as I think it does? Let me know, and be sure you hit subscribe, because as things develop, and we're quite a ways out from anything really concrete happening with this game, but I will continue to update and follow the story, because it is something personally that I am extremely invested in and excited about and curious about as well. So if you want updates, go ahead and hit that subscribe, and we'll see you down the road.